Alright, so let me tell you why I am done, well, probably done, buying brand new cars. First off, let me just start off with my most recent buy, which is, I bought this thing back in December. It's a 2008 Ford Edge SEL. It's one of the first generation Edges. It's got the 3.5 liter Duratec, I think they call it. Yeah, Duratec in it. And it's got, as of right now, 172,006 miles on it. And the best part is, I got it for cheap. Probably like around $7 grand. That's how cheap I got it. And it's pretty well equipped. It's got a black interior, leather seats, power seats. It's got your basic air conditioning controls and stuff like that. None of that fancy where you just set the temperature and it goes, which is fine. It works great. It's got something a lot of new cars don't have, which is a 6 CD changer. And yes, I still listen to CDs. It's got all-wheel drive. It's got a crap ton of room in the back, which is good because I'm a photographer and have to lug, especially now because it's prom season, have to lug a ton of extra crap. It also has voice-activated sync. Granted, it's first generation, but it still works really well. It has a USB port in the console, Bluetooth, so I can use my phone wirelessly, and it also will stream my music through Bluetooth if I don't feel like plugging my phone in, or I can't find it because it's stuck in my pocket or something, and I was like, dude, and sat down. Anyway, why I won't probably never buy a new car is cost. This thing is cheap. I found all the maintenance records online and from the previous owners. Very, very, very meticulously maintained car, and actually, believe it or not, the first owner was a rental. And I know people say, no, never ever buy a rental car. But let me tell you something. This is definitely the second car that I have owned that was a rental for the first part of its life. My Explorer that I drove in high school was a rental car, and now this was a rental car, and now it's my car. Reason I say that is because of the maintenance. The maintenance is going to be meticulous. And also, I know, yeah, there's stories about people beating the crap out of rental cars, but if you think about it, 99% of the people that get a rental car are going to go from point A to point B, and they're going to drive it like normal human beings. You get the 1% of people that drives it like an idiot, but they only have it for, what, a day or two? So, I mean, they're really not going to do too much. One of the things, though, that you want to learn if you're interested in getting a used car, second or third hand, or God knows how many owners this thing had before me, is several things. Maintenance records, which if you look up the VIN number on Carfax and stuff like that, they can be there. A lot of companies, like I know my 4Runner and Ford and stuff like that, and many other companies, they have like an online portal that you can put in the VIN number and create an account and stuff like that, and any dealer items, whether it be repairs, maintenance, or anything like that, recalls, will be listed there. Now, when I bought this, I looked it up online, and the first generation Edges have a few quirks. One of some of the major quirks are in these is the transmissions. There's two sensors that were prone to failing if the transmission fluid was not meticulously maintained, and that was the TSS and the OSS sensor, which is the turbine shaft speed, which is the sensor which is on or before, or actually the part that's the engine connects to the torque converter, and then the output shaft speed, which is the output shaft of the transmission that goes to the power, or to the wheels. Another things these were known for is if you didn't change the fluid regularly, about every 60 to 80,000 miles, or PTUs in the all-wheel drives like mine. Now, looking at all the maintenance records, mine has been done. it's a pretty sensitive part. I don't know why Ford says it has lifetime fluid in it, which is a crock of, but basically that was a problem with the first generation Edges, which they solved, I believe, in 2011 and up. So it's another thing you got to be careful of with certain quirks. What else? That's pretty much it. Ford did really well with the Duratec, 3.5 Duratec engines have an internal water pump that's driven by the timing chain. Again, comes down to maintenance. If you don't change your coolant out every 60,000 miles or so, your water pump's going to go. And because it's driven by the timing chain, it's an internal water pump, it's not fun to get to. So, yeah. So I made sure that was all done and stuff like that. And any information on pretty much any car, there's a forum for everything. You can find any information on it pretty much online. That's like the beautiful thing of the day we live in. With this car, I got it. All the maintenance and stuff was done regularly. I could tell by its service history and its history that it was mostly used for highway driving. So, looking at it, the oil was changed every 10,000 miles, which seems like a lot, but if you look in the book, it's right on par with what the book says for just highway driving. For me, I don't really go by mileage anymore because I do like a lot of idling, so I go by engine hours, change it every 150 hours, which works out to about 5,000 to 6,000 miles every oil change. I use like full synthetic and it runs great. 172,000, and I can tell by the service history that it has had synthetic oil in it pretty much since the day it was new, and it's also recommended by Ford in the owner's manual to use synthetic oil. So, those slightly longer oil intervals are not a big deal, especially when you pop open the oil cap and you stick your finger down in there isn't a bit of sludge or deposits or anything in this engine. You can literally eat off of the inside of this engine. Same thing when I pulled the dipstick for the transmission. The fluid, I probably am going to have to change it in about 10 to 15,000 miles because it's still red, doesn't smell burnt or anything, but it's getting a little dark in color. So I'll change that like over the summer or something like that. That's another thing. A lot of cars now, they have like a sealed transmission, and again that lifetime fluid thing goes on. But if you take the car out for a test drive and drive it through all different kinds of load conditions, like kind of drive it nice and gingerly, drive it like you would normally drive it, and then kind of when it's all warmed up and everything, take it for a little bit of a hell ride, like give it some throttle, make sure the engine's not making noise, make sure the transmission is shifting good, and stuff like that. And another thing is I had a small little hesitation in this car, but I knew exactly what it was. It needed the spark plugs changed. It had the original spark plugs in it with the I think I changed them at 168,000 miles. Yeah, the fact that they lasted that long is incredible. But it basically how you can tell if it needs to like a tune-up or minor spark plugs is if the engine's under load, like you're in high gear and you're going up like a slight hill and it starts like bucking a little bit. That's a good indication that you need to change your spark plugs. Also keep in mind what kind of plugs that the car likes best. This likes those those platinum tipped plugs or something like that. They're a little bit more expensive, but they have like 100,000 mile lifetime, theoretically. And also, again, it's what's recommended by this engine, and because this engine has coil-on plugs, which means each plug has its own ignition coil that's then controlled by the computer. And these are another thing that are known for failing if you don't change out your spark plugs, because they get hot and they burn up, and in rare cases when it burns the coil out, it can take out the powertrain control module, which you don't want that to happen. But it's a good rule of thumb whenever you buy like a used car, whether it be from I bought mine from a used car dealer. so he did like the oil change and stuff for me before I bought it. But if you're buying from like a private party or something, it's always a good idea, just even if they say they did it, just change the oil. Because I mean, for me, a $50 oil change is a hell of a lot cheaper than an engine or a big headache later. Another thing you want to do when you're looking for a secondhand car is get one of those like cheapo OBD scanners from like Advanced Auto Parts or an auto parts store or something. Because even if like you go in it and you're looking at it and the check engine light is out, that doesn't mean that the car's good. That just means that maybe they reset it so the light would go out and it looks good to sell. If you plug the code scanner in, even if the check engine light is out, you can still see if there's pending codes, if the emission system is ready. So for example, if someone reset the codes, it usually takes 50 miles or so, or a couple driving cycles before everything, or the computer in the car runs its diagnostics and goes, all right, everything is good, and everything is ready. In some cases, you can read other codes too, but typically the only codes you'll be able to read are maybe engine and transmission codes. Engine and transmission codes, those are what you want to look out for. What else? When I bought this, on the stereo, the the passenger front door speaker was not working, and I'm pretty good with electronics and fixing things on cars, so I bought it anyway, knowing that it had an issue. Again, that was the thing that I looked online for, and it turned out it was a door speaker. I got a Ford speaker from a dealer by me. It cost me $24. Now I have a 100% working stereo again. And some people were like, oh, why don't you just change it out? It's a stock stereo. Well, you know, you don't get a lot of aftermarket stereos that have 6-disc changers, Sirius satellite radio, the USB port, and the voice commands all rolled into one. So for me, it was worth fixing, and if it didn't fix the problem, I was only out like 20-something bucks for the speaker. No big deal. The other nice thing is some of the areas I go, they're not exactly the most friendly, so I don't have to worry about somebody stealing a stock stereo. Yeah. And again, it's a good system. Another problem I had is, I'm not going to open it now, but I'm just going to open the sunshade because it's raining. But these Vista roofs in the edges, they're known for getting stuck. Now, all it is a lubrication problem. Once a year, they recommend is you just shoot some grease into the track and it fixes it. Mine, it would open, but the problem is it wouldn't close, and I found that out when it was 20-something degrees out, and I brought the car home and was just checking stuff out. Again, easy fix. Took a can of spray, just had to move it back and forth a couple of times, and it works 100%. Another small issue that I had is, if you saw the intro to the video, is I haven't fixed it yet, but I found out where the problem is. I just haven't had time to take it apart and see if I can fix it, or just get a new one. The problem is kind of a little bit of an expensive part, and it's only the stupid compass, so it's one of those things. It's like, I really don't need it. If I want to fix it, I'll fix it, which I kind of do, but it's not really a priority. It does not affect drivability or function of the car whatsoever, and that is the compass. It would just show you what direction you're going, nothing special. The problem is, in this car, the compass is in the rear view mirror. Now, this car has the sync system, the Bluetooth, automatic headlights, and auto dimming mirror. So everything is integrated into the mirror. There's the sensors for the headlights, the compass, the microphone for the sound system, and it's an auto dimming mirror. It's a $400 replacement part. But what I think I'm gonna do is just take the mirror apart when I get like a nice day when I'm not doing anything, and see if it's just a loose component on the board, or something like that, which I know in my dad's Excursion, the overhead console, it tells you like your fuel economy and stuff like that. The display went out and it was a loose resistor on the board, so I'm kind of wondering if it's a similar problem with this. If not, I'll get a new rear view mirror eventually. But the instrument cluster and everything is working 100%. I borrowed a snap-on scanner from a friend of mine, tested all the electronics and the modules and everything in the car. Everything is working except for that. So, yeah, newer cars with the amount of electronics, and this is a 2008 and it has a ton of electronics in it. But even, you know, that's kind of a double-edged sword with the newer cars with the electronics. Is if you have the right tools, you can pull the codes from the computers and the modules and figure out where to start. Another thing is when I was pulling the code is the compass in this uses 2 wires for communication from the mirror to the instrument cluster. I checked those wires out; those are all good. So, oh, and the diagnostics passed on the instrument cluster, which is good because those are expensive, and then you have to go and get them programmed because of mileage and the law and stuff like that. And this car uses CAN bus, so you have to program it anyway, otherwise weird stuff will happen. And that's pretty much it. I've been driving this car now for 5 months. Yeah, 5 months. I've put 10,000 miles on it, and it's been absolutely great. Air conditioning works really well. It doesn't have heated seats or a lot of that other fancy stuff, but it's fine. It's a work car, and I definitely, with the Edge, I love this thing. I should have bought one sooner, just because this thing, it drives really well. Even though it's got the base engine in it, which is a 3.5, it'll move. It'll get out of its own way pretty quick, especially if you put your foot down. The all-wheel drive works great in the snow. This is an excellent car in the snow, and it does all-wheel drive drifting pretty well too. When you turn the traction control off. But yeah, this is the 3rd car that I have bought used, and I'm not regretting my decisions whatsoever. I bought my Explorer used. I drove that thing till about 210,000 miles on it, and I traded it in, still running. The only reason I traded it in was because it was beginning to rust out underneath, like bad. Like you put your finger through the frame and pff, done. So it just wasn't worth fixing. My 4Runner I bought used, and if you guys have seen the videos on that, I turned it into an off-road beast. So it's not exactly daily driver friendly. And now I have the Edge that I bought used, and yeah, so again, it just comes down to making sure all your maintenance is good. Was it in any major accidents? Does it have a clear title? And you just basically make sure that everything is working, and if something doesn't work, make sure it's within your skill level to fix, or you know somebody, or it's not like a super expensive fix. Like if it's a broken taillight or something, you can probably change it out yourself, or you can take it to the dealer and they'll probably only charge you $100 for the part and the labor to do it. It's just stuff like that. It's just again, cars these days are built so well that mileage really does not matter anymore. It is how they have been taken care of. Has the maintenance been done? And like on this engine, it's sensitive to say the fluid and the oil changes because of just the way it's designed. So it's stuff like that you just got to watch out for. If you look at the maintenance records, it's been neglected. Like say, oh, the oil wasn't changed for like 20,000 miles, or you open up the oil cap and there's all kinds of sludge and gunk in the engine. It's kind of just like, you might not want that car just because of potential problems that you're going to face later, especially when it comes to engine and transmissions. those are expensive repairs on any car. It doesn't matter what it is. So yeah, that's just what you gotta watch out for, and other like drivetrain issues. But again, when you're looking for a used car, just make sure you go online, look up the quirks, and yeah, because every car has its quirks. So yeah, see you guys later.